go over the ingredients. This is a super simple soup. Super simple soup. Okay. This is inspired by my mother-in-law Judy's potato soup, and Rick really enjoys it. It's a brothy potato soup. It's not a creamy soup, and it's not a thick soup. It's just a really delicious soup. So what we're going to start with is I have about 2 to 3 pounds of potatoes. These are Yukon Golds that I have peeled and diced. And then we're going to have about 2 cups each of diced carrot, diced onion, and diced celery. And they are diced pretty small, but not minced. You want these to cook pretty evenly with the potatoes. We're also have a half a pound, so this is a half a pound of bacon that I rendered off in my stock pot, and I still have the bacon renderings in the stock pot. So we're going to use the drippings to saute our vegetables. And then I have, this is soup base. I'm going to use the water that's in this bowl here with the potatoes. But I'm going to also use, this is a chicken soup base, so it's chicken stock that I reconstituted. It's a paste. It's chicken soup paste kind of base. It's called Better Than Bouillon, and it's an organic version, and it's very, very delicious, and I love it. So I have about 4 teaspoons in here, so it's ultra concentrated. So once we add it to the soup, it's going to level out. We're also going to add some salt and pepper to taste, to make this taste the way we want it. And no other seasonings. This is super simple and super easy. So we're going to move over to the stove and we're going to start this soup, and we're going to show you how we do it. All right, we're over at the stove, and here are the bacon drippings from rendering off that half pound of bacon. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to toss all of my vegetables right here in the pot. This is the best way to get a good flavor base for your soup. So just saute these off for a few minutes. Don't go crazy. You don't have to cook it to death. You don't have to even wait for the onion to get tender. You just want to get these all mixed in there and maybe bring up some of that fond off the bottom of the pan. You see all that brown on the bottom of the pan. This stuff, that equals flavor. So you want to get that up, and you want to get it into your soup base. There might even be some pieces of bacon in there. And you see, just coming in contact with those chopped veggies, that brown is coming right up off the bottom of the pan. And that's how you want it. The rest of it's going to come up when we put the liquid in here. So don't worry. We're going to hold off on the bacon until the end. We're going to want all of our veggies and our potatoes to cook in this flavorful broth. And I have my burner set at about a medium high. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not even going to wait. It's going to be shocking. I'm going to put that soup base right in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my potatoes and the water that they were soaking in there. Give everything a good stir. And I'm going to grab a spoon and I'm just going to taste the broth. I might need to add a little more water because we want it to cover. It's got good flavor already. It's still got a little raw taste to it, of course, because the veggies are still raw. So don't worry. I'm going to get a couple more cups of water. This really is an eyeball thing, folks. Depending on how many pounds of potatoes you use, this is definitely, that's better. One of those recipes where you can stretch it. You can add ham to this if you like. You can add smoked sausage to it later if you like. And what we're going to do now is we're going to set this, we're going to bring it to a boil. We're going to turn it down to medium. We're going to let this simmer for about a half an hour. We're going to check it. And when we get ready to do that, we'll bring it back so you can see that the potatoes are tender and everything is the way it's supposed to be. So when it's time to do that, we'll be back and we'll move forward. Right, our soup has simmered, and you can see it's still nice and brothy. It's not thick. It's just perfect. Now, the only other thing we're going to add to this is some cracked black pepper, about a teaspoon. Stir it on in there. And we've tasted this. I don't think it needs any more salt, personally. No. If you want, you can just let your guests, or whoever's eating it, salt their own. Just stir the cooked bacon back into this soup and dinner's ready. So we're going to go and fix you a bowl of this delicious soup. Okay, and there you have it. A beautiful cup of hot, brothy potato soup, Judy style. So that's how you make a Judy-inspired potato soup. I hope that you try this. I hope that you enjoy it. Okay, we're just going to go over all the ingredients as I put them in the crock pot and get ready to make this really easy beef and barley soup for dinner. So what I have in the vessel of my slow cooker is about 2 pounds of beef stew meat. I've not done anything to it except throw it in there. You can break it down further, cut it into smaller chunks, but I really feel like it isn't necessary because we're going to slow cook this for a really long period of time, and that meat is going to eventually fall apart and be exactly the way you want it in the first place. So, just stick it in there. Some people choose to brown this with a little oil and dredge it in a little flour. We're going the quick route today. What I have here is 4 cups of beef and mushroom stock. Now I have used my Better Than bouillon. I have 4 cups of very hot water, to which I have added a tablespoon each of the mushroom base and the roasted beef base. So I have 4 cups of stock. It is a highly concentrated stock. I have added more to it per cup than it's called for because we are going to add more water to the vessel when we're finished. I have about 4 carrots that I have scrubbed and sliced into coins. I have about 16 ounces of sliced cremini mushrooms. I have 1 large onion that I have diced. I have 2 to 3 cloves of garlic. This is my prepared garlic, so it's about 2 tablespoons worth. I have 1 15-ounce can of petite diced tomatoes. And then I don't have any fresh celery on hand. I didn't realize that, so I'm going to be throwing in a handful, or about 1/4 cup of my dehydrated celery. If you have fresh celery, please use about a cup and a half of fresh celery. Just toss it all in there. That's all we're going to do. We're going to toss everything in. And in here, I have a teaspoon each of dried marjoram, dried oregano, and a 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme. All of these flavors go very well with beef. And that's it, because we don't put the barley in until later. I'm going to let this cook for a good long time. Put our broth in there, beef stuff. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a little more water. Alright, I've got about 4 more cups of water. And yeah, it's hot water, but you can use whatever you like. We're going to add salt and pepper later. Later on, we'll also be adding a cup of pearl barley. This is not quick barley. This is regular, old-fashioned pearl barley. We're going to add this about 1 hour to 1.5 hours before we're ready to eat. I'll be back and I'll show you how we add that when it's time to do that. But I'm simply going to put the lid on this, set it in the sleeve on high, and we're going to cook this for about 6 hours before we add our barley. So I'll be back when it's time to do that. All right. This has been almost 6 hours. We started this around 12:30 this afternoon, and it is now 5:30, so it's been 6 hours. It's been 5 hours, pardon me. So the meat is nice and soft. I already took a piece out and tested it. All the veggies are just great. The broth is rich and delicious. There's very little fat in here, and I tell you, I can't wait for dinner. Okay. So what I have here is about 1.5 cups of regular pearled barley, and I'm just going to pop that in there. Give it a good stir. Now you're going to leave it on high, and you're going to let this cook for 45 minutes to 1 hour until that barley gets nice and plump, and your soup will be ready to serve. So when we come back, we'll fix you a bowl of this delicious beef barley soup from the slow cooker. All right, it has been about 1.5 hours since we put the barley in here, and it's perfect. You see how nice that barley has plumped up, and it's made this brothy soup into a thick and rich, hearty meal. This beef barley soup is just going to hit the spot. It's going to warm everybody up from the inside out, and we're going to have leftovers for lunch tomorrow. Okay, here we go. All dished up and ready for a nice, warm, filling dinner. Beef barley soup. One of my favorites ever in my life. So there you have it. Delicious slow-cooked beef barley soup. I hope that you give it a try. This is one of the easiest soups that you can make in your pressure cooker. It's just dump and go kind of recipe. It's super delicious and it requires pantry staples, freezer staples, and spice rack staples to make it super delicious. You're going to use a lot of flavor. You make a delicious tomatoey broth, and then you're going to top it with whatever you want. Chopped avocado, onion, chopped tomato, fresh cilantro, a little sour cream, little cheese, you're good to go. So what we're gonna do today, we're gonna use 3 boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and then we're gonna use a large onion that I've sliced, a 28-ounce can of tomato and green chili. This is a 4-ounce can of tomato paste, 2 quarts of chicken stock, and then this is where all the goodness happens. 2 tablespoons of Mexican oregano, 2 tablespoons of cumin, 1 small chipotle pepper in adobo, and I chopped this up super fine. You can leave this out if you don't like it spicy, but this adds a lovely smokiness to the soup. 2 tablespoons or about 4 cloves of minced garlic, a teaspoon each onion powder, garlic powder, salt, and pepper, and that's it. This is super simple. We're just gonna go ahead and build our broth first, then we're gonna put all of the seasonings in and then the chicken. We're gonna go ahead and add our tomato paste. Okay, we're gonna go in with all of our spices. There goes the cumin, the oregano, salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder. I use both onion powder and fresh onion and garlic powder and fresh garlic because they offer different depths of flavor to the dish. So there goes our garlic, our onion. Give everything a good stir. In with our tomatoes and green chilies. This is optional if you don't like the heat of the green chili, which really isn't very hot at all. You can just add a 28-ounce can of diced tomato if that's your preference. Then we're gonna add the chipotle in adobo, and in goes our chicken. Now we're gonna go ahead when this is finished and we're gonna take the chicken out and we're gonna shred it, and we're gonna return it back. Just give this a good zhuzh. Make sure the chicken is completely submerged. Now this is gonna produce a little more liquid once the chicken is fully cooked, but what I am gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of water to this. We'll just add a tomato, one of the can of the tomato and green chili. We'll just fill that up with water and add it. This smells incredible already, and now we're just gonna pop this on, the lid on. Today I'm using my GoWise 10-quart pressure cooker. This one is a total no-brainer. I'm going to go ahead and cook this on the meat setting because it's soup and we have raw meat in here, so I'm gonna hit soup and stew for 35 minutes. I may go for 40 because I really want this to be nice and tender so that we can shred the chicken. We're gonna let this go. We're gonna bring it up to pressure, let it cook for 40 minutes, let it come down from pressure naturally, which is gonna take another 15 or 20 minutes. And then we're gonna go in there and I'll show you what it looks like, and we'll shred the chicken and we'll have tortilla soup for dinner. We have cooked our tortilla soup. It's all ready to go. It smells amazing. I went ahead and I removed the chicken from the pot and I just shredded it. It just fell apart. Like, all you had to do is look at it and it fell apart. It came out of there in pieces. What we're gonna do now is we're just gonna return this back to the soup, give it a good stir, and what may not have broken up when you shredded it in the bowl is definitely gonna break up as you stir it. So now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna fix you guys a bowl of this so you can see what it looks like. Well, there you have it. There is our chicken tortilla soup all ready to go. I put some cheese, some avocado, a little sour cream, a sprinkle of fresh chopped onion. You can do whatever you want. I love to squeeze some fresh lime in here. Unfortunately, I thought I had one, but I don't. So you know how that goes. You just do with what you have. So you can also, we're gonna put some tortilla chips in here. And then, you know, you can just crush these up, or you can go ahead and just eat them with your soup however you like. They add a thickness and a richness to the soup, and it's positively delicious. I hope you give this pressure cooker version of my chicken tortilla soup a try sometime soon, and I hope you love it.